Good morning, YouTube, and welcome back to Knight's Morning Commute, the show where I take your questions and answer them on my way to work every morning. Today I'm parked in Sheets, and it's cold out. All right, so today's question is from my newest Patreon supporter. By the way, if you can, go over to patreon.com/Knightsmith, patreon.com/Knightsmith to support the channel. Today's question is from Brandon Hanna. And he asked, how do you, sorry, I had to plug in. How do you overcome a lack of motivation? How do you force yourself into getting those good habits, like eating better, going to the gym, so on and so forth? And it's kind of easy. It seems deceptively simple. And if you're struggling with motivation, you're like, oh man, I can't do that. That's such a big task. Well, everything's a big task. Everything. However, what you need to do is look at your big task. What's your goal? Overshoot your goal. So if you want to lose 100 pounds, make your goal to lose 120. You lay down your plans. And then, once you have your master plan done, you break it up into steps. You want to lose 120 pounds in a year. Well, that's just 10 pounds a month. Now, losing 10 pounds isn't so bad. Okay, what are you going to do to lose those 10 pounds? All right, I'm going to cut out fast food. That's one step. So for the first month, you cut out fast food. Second month, I'm going to cut out fast food and whatever. And then when you get your monthly plan, you break it down into day by day. Because it's impossible to run a whole mile at once. It's very possible to run a whole mile one step at a time. And when you break it down, when you break all these monumental tasks down, they're relatively simple. Very easy to attain goals. And at the end of the year, if you're shooting for 120 pounds, pretty sure you're going to lose that 100 pounds. Maybe even a little bit more. And that'll surprise you. And you'll feel a little bit better about yourself. And the next task you want to do, you do it the same way. Look at buildings. And this analogy here will go back to actually the phrase I use at the end of almost every video. Every building is a master plan. Someone has a vision for what they want this structure to be, how they want it to be used, and so on and so forth. So they go to architects, engineers, designers, and everything is drawn up. The whole building is drawn up at once, and then everything's broken down into steps, into individual pieces, details. You don't draw everything at once, and not one person does the whole thing. And then they pass that off to contractors. And contractors look at it, they bid on it. Then if they win the bid, they start getting the material. Then once they have all the material, they break everything down. And every building, I don't care if it's a mud hut, all the way up to a skyscraper, aircraft carrier, everything, every beam, every bolt, every piece of sheet metal, every 2x4 stud is made one cut at a time. And that goes back to my catchphrase, making the world a better place, one kerf at a time. The kerf is the material taken away by a cut. Either by a saw, plasma torch, water jet, whatever. Everything leaves a kerf. And buildings are built one kerf at a time. Whether you're cutting the beams, cutting the forms out to lay the footing and the foundation, the rebar, they're all cut one at a time. Everything is done one kerf at a time. And if you look at it and you break it down, that's why I use making the world a better place one kerf at a time, because I can't improve the world all at once. I can do it only one small cut at a time, and that's what each of these videos are. Each video I produce is my attempt to make this world better, one small slice at a time. But if you add it up, you know, let's say you're whittling away at a 8-foot long 2x4, and your blade is an eighth inch wide. Take an eighth inch. It might seem like it's going to take forever to cut that whole thing into sawdust. But if you do it, just focus on one kerf at a time, one kerf, one cut, one small step. Soon that whole thing's going to be a pile of sawdust. So that's the best way to look at it. You don't want to conquer the whole goal all at once. You don't clean your entire house all at once. You clean your house by doing the dishes, and then doing your laundry, and then making your bed. Then you take out the trash, and then you vacuum. You don't do everything all at once. No problem is ever solved all at once. And there's an old adage about this. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And it's as simple as that. And if you can lay that master plan and then put your head down and you don't look at the goal, you just focus on the next step, the next step, the next step, the next step, you'll succeed. It works for everything, from military engagements, building buildings, to losing weight. You don't win a war all at once. Everything's broken down into small steps. You don't build a building all at once. You don't lose 100 pounds all at once. Everything's done one step at a time. So that's how I look at my life. You guys know I build things. I'm an architectural draftsman. Today I'm going to be going out and setting rebar pins for a property corner. And that's done one step at a time, one pin at a time. You don't do the whole thing all at once. It's, you go out, you find the corner, you lay the pin. You go out, you find the next corner, you lay the pin. One step. But after a few, there's 7, 10, 14 pins. You do one, you do one, you do one, you do one, and eventually you're done. You're done with the job. You didn't, and all you have to do is focus on one thing at a time. And as long as you can keep your head down and focus on just the task at hand, you can accomplish anything. And you need to believe that you can accomplish anything one step at a time. Sorry, it got a little heavy there at the end, but it's true. This whole world is just made up of tiny little steps going in one direction. So I hope that helps. I hope that answers your question, Brandon. And I really appreciate you becoming a Patreon supporter. It really does mean the world to me and my wife, and eventually my future children, because you are really helping my dreams come true, and I can't thank you enough. So thanks. And guys, if you can, go over to patreon.com/Knightsmith to support me. Like I said, it means the world to me, to my wife, my future kids, and it helps the channel grow, and I can bring you content better, more regularly. And yeah. So thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Keep those comments coming. I want to answer your questions. I need more questions. I'm running out. So thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. And thank you for helping me make this world better, one curve at a time. And I'll see you tomorrow.